Hello everyone, Harsh Verma this side, and continuing our series of Network Warrior, we are here again with another topic for the day. So let me SSH into my phone and start the reading for the next chapter, which is about VLAN's inter switch link, which is ISL, a protocol for VLAN management, and a little bit about VTP, VLAN trunking protocol. So let first me zoom it so you also can see what I'm up to. Okay, I think this one zoom is enough for you all, guys. Okay, so first of all, ISL stands for inter switch link, which you can see here, inter switch link. Okay, the difference between ISL and VTP are basically the ISL encapsulate the Ethernet frame within an ISL frame, while 802.1q, which is another form of encapsulation, alters the existing frame to include VLAN tags. So this chapter assumes, actually the chapter in the book go in very detail how the encapsulation or William tagging works. But I am assuming that you must have understood a little bit about VLAN before watching this video. And if you have not, you please go visit my channel and watch few of my shorts in which I've already explained a few things, what VLAN is, how VLAN works, etc. This is just the key points that I'm sharing that I find very economical or very captive to share, which is not common found knowledge, and I have not been experienced that when I was preparing for CCNA. So these things must be shared. So what I was talking about, that ISL itself encapsulates the frame so that it can be tagged with or associated with a VLAN. And actually ISL, which stands for Inter Switch Link, is a Cisco proprietary protocol. And nowadays Cisco is actually moving toward the open standards way more. So you may or may not find this ISL protocol in the latest Nexus devices or latest CatOS devices, but it used to be a thing. So we here in this particular scenario, in this chapter, we are actually learning how encapsulation of a frame to a particular VLAN tag actually works. So 802.1q alters the existing frame to include a VLAN tag. So it changes the modification, the VLAN ID, extended VLAN ID, what VLAN it belongs to, etc. Finally, the ISL is capable of supporting 1000 VLAN. ISL, being the old protocol, only supports up to 1000 VLAN, while the newer standard 802.1q is capable of supporting up to 4096 96 VLAN IDs, not protocol. Okay. The next thing, that ISL adds 30 bytes while 802.1q adds only 4 bytes. And these bytes or these additional data must be keep in mind when we are building some kind of intercommunication link, for example in tunnel, in which extra overhead will be added by the tunnel protocol. And I'm for sure I will look that into future video, how protocol works and how and what things they encapsulate in order to make a tunnel and in order to transfer data between them. Okay, so next thing that we learn in this chapter about DTP. DTP stands for Dynamic Trunking Protocol, which helps the trunk negotiation using the dynamic desirable and dynamic auto mode. So what I'm saying is, the in order to negotiate trunk between them, we can either manually set that port into trunk mode or we can use DTP. And if we want that the port itself come forward and ask for Trump whether the trunk negotiation is accessible or not, we use the dynamic desirable mode, while in other dynamic auto mode it acts as a passive initiator. Okay. And finally, connection to a L3 device will require manual bundling configuration. This is talking about a scenario in which there is a dedicated L3 device that does not supports or does not have the L2 standards. For example, the DTP protocol, presence of DTP protocol. Okay, so in that scenario, we have to manually bundle the or manually configure the VLAN protocols. Next is multi-layer switch feature card, MSFC. What is it? Actually, I was just going through a session of what a chassis switch is and what card do they support. So they do support line cards, fabric cards, and we also have something called multi-layer switch feature card. And for this, we have to go to Google. I just mentioned it here that I need to review it again. Okay, finally, we are talking about VTP, which stands for VLAN trunking protocol. It helps to ease out VLAN configuration by actually broadcasting what kind of VLAN exists on a one device and sharing with another device in the same domain. And a VLAN trunking protocol domain, also known as VTP domain, is a group of connected switches with the same VTP domain string configured. Now, there's a different type of VTP domains, or sorry, different kinds of VTP modes in which include server mode, transparent mode, bridge mode. Actually, I have written it over here. Sorry, okay, I have missed it. But one of the modes is VTP transparent mode, which does not update or accepts the incoming VLANs or VLAN numbers, etc. So a VTP transparent switch receives and forwards the VTP update, but does not store its configuration to reflect the change that they contain. Okay, but that's it. That's it's fine. Next point says that when our switch VTP domain is null, if it receives a VTP advertisement over trunk link, suppose we are unpacking a new switch in which we have not configured a single thing yet, and if we plan to, if we connect this switch to another switch, it will receive the VTP advertisement, and by default, the VTP mode is configured is of server mode. Okay, so whenever it receives such advertisement and its domain is null, it will actually inherit those VTP domain and VLAN configuration from the switch on the other end of the trunk. Okay. The next point says that this will happen only over manually configured link, as DTP negotiations cannot take place unless a VTP domain is configured. Okay, so actually in order to get or inherit a VTP domain, we first have to manually configure the port as trunk port. Only then it will receive VTP advertisements, and then it will configure or get all those VLANs that is being passed through. And finally, what if we don't want to pass through some VLAN, or we don't want to share this VLAN because no devices or no endpoint devices exist on that port, on that particular VLAN? We use something called VLAN pruning. The VLAN pruning actually prevents traffic originating from this particular VLAN from being sent on switch on which that VLAN is not active. And we will discuss, and I will soon upload a short. Actually, I think I have uploaded a short regarding the VLAN pruning. I will check that and I will update you. And this is all for this video, and let's see you in another one. Thank you.